Hello, one and all, NeroX back again for another Terraria Induced Thoughts, this time on a different subject for this channel, the NHL and outdoor games. Now, as some of you may know, I am a hockey fan. I love hockey. I am a Blackhawks fan primarily, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, many people believe that there are too many outdoor games. Now, for those of you that don't know what an outdoor game is, or have never been to one, it's actually very, very fun to go watch in person or watch on TV even. Now, moving along from that, many people believe that there are too many of them, one, or two, they keep going to the same teams over and over and over again, which ruins the novelty of them. Now, the thing about outdoor games is that inherently they have to go to teams with big markets and fan bases. Example, the New York Rangers, the Montreal Canadiens, the Maple Leafs, the Boston Bruins, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Detroit Red Wings, the Philadelphia Flyers. They have to basically go to teams, St. Louis, Minnesota. Yeah, they have to go to teams that have big fan bases in order to make a profit off of them. And two, they have to go to a team that's in a cold enough climate to justify having a game outside. You can have a game inside anywhere you want, but having a game outside, that's a whole different task, so they have to go to teams in the Northern Hemisphere. I mean, as much as I'd love to see the LA Kings play the New York Rangers in an outdoor game, it's probably never going to happen in LA. It'll probably happen in New York, more than likely in Yankee Stadium. Now, do I believe the novelty of outdoor games has been ruined by the excess amount of them? Yeah, a bit. The magic is kind of dulled. But if I was in charge of the NHL, I'd only have 2 outdoor games a year. One for two Eastern Conference teams, and one for 2 Western Conference teams. Now, which teams end up there are usually via volunteer basis or by just market demand. But let's move on to another problem that people have with the NHL: expansion into areas that aren't really good hockey markets. Now, league expansion as well as team relocation happens for a lot of reasons. The original Winnipeg Jets relocated due to financial problems and no one in Winnipeg wanting to buy the team for some reason. The New Jersey Devils weren't always in New Jersey. They were originally in Colorado, and they were the Colorado Rockies. And Colorado would get its team back sometime later when the Quebec City Nordiques were moved out of Quebec City and into Colorado to become the Avalanche. The Atlanta Flames eventually would become the Calgary Flames. And while most of these moves do make sense, some of them are kind of questionable. For example, the first Winnipeg Jets, relocating to Phoenix, Arizona. The one good thing that has come out of the Jets moving to Phoenix, Arizona, is the fact that Austin Matthews eventually became a star for the Maple Leafs. Seriously, Austin Matthews has a bright future in front of him. This playoff year against the Capitals I felt was going to be the learning experience year for that core. Moving on, though, there are so many underutilized and undertapped sports markets in general, or just teams aren't just being marketed correctly in the right areas. Like, many people thought Tampa Bay wasn't going to work as a hockey market, but they've done well enough to justify them being there for a good while now. The LA Kings were probably back in the 60s, when the league first expanded from 6 to 12 teams, were seen as going to be a team that ended up relocating in a few years, and they've been there for the better part of almost 50, if not more than 50 now. But if I were in charge of the NHL, I would probably move the Phoenix Coyotes to Seattle. The New York Islanders, I would probably move to Kansas City. And I would move the Vegas Golden Knights, who are coming into the league next year, relative to how well they do, up to, Quebec City. Now, granted, I know another Canadian team, it is kind of weird, but in all fairness, Quebec City does deserve their team back. Anyway, that wraps up my thoughts on the NHL for this video. If you have any more ideas for topics, or want me to make another Mobile Game Mondays video with a game you suggested, throw it down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. My name is NeroX, and I'm out of here. Peace. Hello, one and all, NeroX back again for another Terraria Induced Thought.